in study. You know right where I'll be.
Your very first trial, Skylander, is the trial of courage. One path leads to Chompies. The other, spiders. Pick the path that leads to what you fear most.
Alright guys, it looks like you've decided to check out all of the paths on the right side of the Oracle's domain. And I can't blame you for not wanting to play all of these. Well, one in particular. But we'll get to that later. For now, let's make our first choice. As you might imagine, even though we're meant to choose the thing that scares us most, if we choose Chompies, we will face Chompies, and they will not be as difficult as facing spiders. So, this seems like a great place to start.
Can't stop now.
Alright, Flint, let's show him who's boss.
Skylanders of the Light are stronger.
Ugh, you can already hear one of those blasted Chompy bots stomping around. Also, you can already see one of these weird little info kiosk things. Let's check it out.
Hello. I see you have picked the Chompy path. To complete this test, you simply have to defeat all of the Chompies. No problem, right?
It's certainly not the most difficult challenge we've come across yet. Although, I mean, these info kiosk floating glowing statue guys, they're honestly not terribly helpful. Usually it'll be pretty clear to you from the start what your objective is, because it's usually either get to some endpoint or just clear out all the enemies or some other similar thing along those lines. Now, since we're here to collect all of the collectibles in the various areas of the Oracle's domain, let's pick up our first one on the right-hand path. You can get it pretty quickly. Just drop to the right of that first ledge where you start, and you'll find a Luck-O-Tron Wheel of Wealth. As these are generally my preferred Luck-O-Tron wheels, you can imagine that this is a pretty exciting pickup for me. And we don't have to worry about getting any other collectibles, because there's usually... well, no, I guess there's only one in any one of these areas. So I've found in the past that sometimes, if you just head straight, if you like bounce up to this ledge right away, then the Chompy bot up on the higher cliff has a difficult time chasing you down at first. Oh, I got frozen by ice Chompies. I forgot that they did that, because it so rarely comes up. Okay, this is not going exactly according to my plan. As I think I've mentioned in the past, even when you're in boulder form, you have to be fairly careful, as you can still be damaged by various enemies. Oh man, not having good luck here today. Perhaps we'll need to conserve our strength for later. As such, why don't we call upon another one of our giant friends, Laboon? I might not be quite so worried if A, they weren't already swarming me, or B, that other Chompy bot hadn't just jumped down from the ledge above. As you can imagine, that might be tricky for my low health giant. Let's see if we can... there we go, there's that whirlpool action. It must have been right off the edge. See, that's the thing I don't really love about the whirlpool thing. I know it's supposed to be a very powerful move, but from my experience it's fairly tricky to use. First off, the combo itself can actually be fairly difficult to time, especially compared to some others that I've dealt with in the past. For example, I just tried to do it, and instead ended up doing the basic combo. I'm not sure why it is so difficult to pull it off. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong, or maybe the timing is just weird, like I feel like it is. Oh man, took a lot of hits there. Again, generally, I feel like these large robot types are actually a pretty good matchup against the giants, meaning that I think it's not the best idea to end up taking giants into fights with them. I think mobility is often key against them, like between the Chompy bots with their wide range of Chompy cannons and the troll bots with the rapid fire, like, nose cannon thing that they have going on. Generally, being a small moving target is the best way to fight them. Still, I want to show off my giants just as much as I want to show off my other characters. Alright, one trial down. What else you got?
Well done, Skylander. I am already getting some wonderful research data here. Next is the trial of heart. Here, you must find your true self. Would you rather be a small fish in a big ocean? or a large fish in a small pond?
That's an interesting question. First, I'd like to note that this is probably the most important choice that you'll make here in the Oracle's domain, because this time around, you're not just picking between two trials. Depending on which one of these trials you choose, you'll end up going in a different direction for the next two trials. To be clear, taking this path, our right side path this time around, the little fish in the big ocean, you'll end up with the trials of Valor and Strength. However, if you go the other way, and you decide to be a large fish in a small pond, then you'll be given the trials of Element and of Knowledge. So first, we're going to start by taking all the right-hand choices, which will mean that we're starting here with the trial of the little fish in the big ocean. And I feel like a giant might aspire to that, so this seems like a logical choice, especially since we have a Skylander who probably feels at home in the ocean anyway.
Skylanders of the air element are stronger.
You know, it doesn't really seem all that different just yet. I guess these pots are a little big, but, what's the deal here? I guess there's some Chompies. Oh, look at the size of the Chompies. They're very large-ish. There we go. Managed to... See, again, I just pulled off the combo. Like, clearly, got the whole animation. But when I did it, didn't get a whirlpool. There we go. That time it worked, but why not the last time? I don't know. In any case, let's not worry about that when we have collectibles to get. This one's out in plain sight, and pretty easy to get as long as you're paying attention. But you can miss it if you just sort of head off into the level and decide to fight all the Chompies. Anyway, our story scroll is called Archeans Before Dressers. Let's find out what exactly that means.
The Archeans took great pride in their complex system of using light beams to pull platforms around. And this was once the preferred method of storing valuables. That was until they invented the dresser. It is quite possible, though, that some purists left a special item or two out on those platforms. And that is where they remain to this very day.
Interesting. Another cryptic clue. It sounds like it's for an area we haven't been to yet. I guess we'll have to explore that more later. For now, let's continue being a small fish in a large ocean, which means more giant Chompies. There is something weirdly unsettling about seeing Chompies this size. Maybe it's the fact that they're just meant to be the dopiest enemies, and instead they're actually fairly intimidating. Now, you can feel free to destroy these pillars. I am always compelled to do so, even though it doesn't actually do much for you. I believe that it actually is one of the achievements / trophies for this game, but I'm not sure of that. I think that's the case. Anyway, I should leave these alone. We have more important matters to attend to, like being a small fish. What do you think small fish do? I mean, I guess like goldfish are small fish. Family used to have those. They pretty much eat and poop. It's not that interesting. I don't think the trial of eating and pooping in a small bowl would be very interesting, so I guess I'm glad that they decided to go with these large chomping traps instead. It's definitely more exciting, at least in terms of video. Now here's another thing that's really quite awful. Not only do we have large Chompies, but we have large Jawbreakers. And if you've seen any episode of a Skylanders level for this game that I've played, where we've encountered Jawbreakers, you know how much I dislike them. Luckily, I managed to actually defeat them with little effort, which is weird considering how much difficulty I had back in the Trial of the Chompies. Still, I maintain that the Trial of Spiders is a trickier challenge. I just got a little bit unlucky. Wasn't doing my best with Flint, unfortunately. Who else do we have here? Oh good, we have Derivators and more Jawbreakers. How very exciting. Let's try and dive back past the Jawbreakers and see if we can avoid their attacks. That's cool, I got a hit on them even before they launched their attack and went into their sort of vulnerable state. Oh, almost stepped on that landmine. Actually, the Jawbreaker ended up triggering it, but at least he took damage just as much as I did. Alright, let's dive out of the way. Unfortunately, that move actually gets you a little bit more distance than you'd like in some situations. There we go. With those guys disposed of, and some food left over for my fully healed giant, I think I'll actually share the love and heal up our friend Flint a little bit. I think we still have use for his giant strength a little bit later. So we'll do everything we can to get him back to full health before that comes up. Anyway, Our giants are injured and leveled up respectively, so why don't we finish this air area with a little help from our friend Falco. Not much left to go. There's only 2 platforms of enemies once you reach the sort of trap area. Be mindful of these things. They're pretty easy to get past for the most part, but if you're not paying attention, you can definitely get chomped by them. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you end up, I should mention that if you end up taking the other path, the left path of the big fish in a small pond, you end up playing through the same area, and it's the same element, air. However, all of the enemies are particularly small, even if you're a regular-sized Skylander. Ooh, actually, another healing item. That would be good for Flint as well. I suppose we didn't really have much need for our air Skylander, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll have a chance to show him off more somewhere, if not on this path, then on the other. Curse you. Break. Everything break. Yeah, since we got our item early on, we don't have to worry about exploring everything, but I do love me some treasure. Alright, that's 2 trials down. What's left to go?
Very interesting. This is very valuable information to me, Skylander. Hope you're having fun too. Next is the trial of Valor. Here is where you must make a difficult choice. Would you rather save the princess or catch the bad guy?
I think this is one of the more interesting choices given to us by the Oracle, but unfortunately, it's not any more or less significant than any of the other trials. I mean, possibly less if you count the fact that the second choice you make determines the second 2 trials that you'll face. Anyway, since we're taking on the right-hand paths, I guess we'll have to save the princess. Again, just to clarify, we're only getting the trials of Valor and Strength because we decided to be little fish in a giant ocean.
Skylanders of the life element are stronger in this zone.
No need to consult this kiosk here. Basically, the gist of this is that there's like a Moleken princess over there, and she needs our help, so we have to get over to her, and that will constitute saving the princess. There's some other things we can do, and we will. But before we do that, we're in this lovely life-filled green area. Why don't we switch to our life Skylander? Come on out, Yoshi. Perfect. Now, actually, I'd say about half of this trial is a simple block puzzle. Nothing much to it. Let's push this out of the way. And we'll also have to be sure to push this block all the way up so it'll form a little platform for us in just a moment. That's as far as it'll go, so I guess that's good. Now, let's push this back into place. We've seen this puzzle a number of times, actually, between the 2 games. Not sure why they're so fond of it. I guess because it's so simple to learn that even the younger players of the game will have no trouble solving it. Anyway, here's a little bit of treasure for our efforts. And now, another block puzzle. What we've got to do is form a bridge here. This block over here doesn't actually do anything. It's actually just in the way. I mean, I guess it's a convenient way to kill that one Chompy who's just standing there ready to take you on. And of course, we can't leave this area until we've saved the princess. Lucky for us, this area is rather small, and we've basically already saved her. Hey, princess, how's it going? You want my number? I actually don't know how to use a phone. I don't have thumbs. I'm a weird leaf dragon. Also, you just sort of disappeared. You gave me the cold shoulder. That's cool. No, that's totally cool. I'm not mad or anything. Alright, so like I said, there's a little bit more you can do. A couple of enemies you can take out for experience. You can let the root runner there spawn some extra chompies if you're really grinding. But it also leads you over here to this treasure chest, which is another collectible, and I'm glad to pick it up. There we go. Now, as you might be able to tell from that message that all the treasure chests are found, I'm actually recording the right-hand path second, which means when we're done with this path, we'll have collected everything in the level. Of course, you'll only be able to see half of everything unless you check out my left path episode as well. There will be a link to that at the end, so don't worry about trying to find it now. Instead, follow me as we continue to our next trial.
Incredible. It really is a pleasure to study your species. And we're almost done here. Only a couple more trials to go. And our second to last is the trial of strength. Are you a Skylander built for power? Or speed?
Another interesting choice, actually. Kind of like the right-hand path in that respect. So, we've got ourselves here the Trial of Speed, which is about avoiding obstacles, and the Trial of Strength, which is about having big, burly muscles. Since we're on the right-hand path, we're going to use power, but we're maybe not the best Skylander choice for that. Remember when I said we might still need a giant strength? Let's see if Flint can't help us out in that respect.
It's crush hour.
It's actually an Earth area as well, just as a light spoiler, so we'll get extra use out of his muscles. Let's see what we have in store.
Skylanders of the Earth element are stronger in this zone.
I actually find this to be one of the trickier ones in terms of finding collectibles. So, one thing to note, immediately to the left of where we're dropped off, we've got a feat of strength. Now, you don't need a giant Skylander to reach the end of this, it just helps because this creates a shortcut. I feel like it's been a while since we've done a feat of strength, but I guess it hasn't really been that long. There's been a lot of time put into this episode, to be honest. Very complicated. It's the only downside to this Oracle level. It's actually a lot of fun, and the choices are pretty cool. Being able to, like, shape your own path through the level. So it's a really cool idea. I hope that the series decides to explore that further in the future. Anyway, we've got ourselves some enemies, and we get extra damage out of our... forget what that's called, our, like, stone breath blast attack. Gonna go ahead and take care of those enemies later, but first, we've got Jerk Troll here on this teleporter. There we go. Took care of him. Now, there's a giant drop here. This is sort of a trap. If you want to get that hat over there, you're gonna have to take this teleporter first. There we go. Alright, let's push this block over here and open up this hat box. What do you think we're gonna get? It could be anything, even a smaller box. Oh, no, it's actually an umbrella. Well, that might be a nice fit for our rock giant. He probably doesn't like getting wet. And wow, plus 20 armor? That's a nice bonus. And Flint does have a propensity to take damage. So this seems like an excellent choice of fashion.
This is a new look for me.
Perfect. Now, we've got a bunch of these little plants over here. They have treasure. But for some reason, they're not as appealing as some of the other things you can crush for treasure. All the Chompies, rather, have gathered at the cliff below so I can drop rocks on them. How hilarious. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and... oh, they got the drop on me. What jerks. I'm so sick of your nonsense, Chompies. Why have you been such a problem for me today? Let's use our gear attack that we don't make particularly good use of. The only problem with it is that it only attacks in a straight line, not a lot of area of effect, so if you don't aim it well, it's not very effective, but if you do, it can do several hits to one target, which is very nice. Actually should have pushed this block off here before dropping down, but that's okay, because we're going to find our way to the end of the level using the giant drop. There's two ways to do it. Following this block path on top of this cliff and jumping down, that's how you do it if you don't have a giant handy. But since we do, we'll head back. So this path leads all the way back to start, but we've got a nice little shortcut with this boulder that we can lift, being an earth giant. Urgh! And that will lead us back to the cliff, which will take us to the giant jump, which we're gonna do. There's no collectibles there, as I said. There's only ever one collectible per trial, and since we've already got ourselves a nice fancy hat, we're in good shape. It's actually kind of a weird place to have a food item, but I'll touch on that more in just a minute once we've finished this trial. The main point of interest here is Auric's shop. Fairly well hidden, but let's see what he's got on sale.
Nothing like a dark cave to set up shop, eh? Many things to choose from. Which is the one for you?
Again, we've got a small collection of hats, some pretty standard items, fairy dust, skystone sheet, and lock puzzle key. Oh, man, I wish I could have like a dozen of these for something that's coming up in just a minute. But again, I digress. The real selling point here is this skystone. It's actually pretty good. It's got two 3-blade sides and two 2-blade sides in a fairly unique configuration. This one's pretty handy. If you've got the spare money lying around, it's a good pickup, especially if you're having trouble with some of the non-optional Skystones games. Otherwise, you'll be pretty well off with all the ones you have. But I suppose it comes at a pretty nice price because Auric's probably not moving a lot of inventory here in this lonely and difficult-to-reach cave. Anyway, take this southern exit, and we'll reach a new teleporter, which, you probably guessed it, is going to take us back to the Oracle's chamber.
Wow, we are down to the final trial, and I must say, I am very excited for this one. It is the trial of values, and I urge you to be honest here. Although, if you aren't, that will be good data for my research too, so either way works. Do you seek the power that comes from wealth? Or from knowledge?
So, as I think I mentioned, the last trial is really the last one of significance, because even though this is technically a trial, all it is a choice of reward for making it through all of the other sections. It's kind of cool that you get a pretty big bonus every time, but here's something important to note. The right-hand path here, in my opinion, is basically strictly worse than the left-hand. The way it works is that the first time you go through the left-hand path, you'll be given a hat, the bowling pin hat. Then the second time you go through, you'll be given a legendary treasure, the dragon roof. And then finally, the third time and any other times beyond that you take the left-hand path, you'll get a big stack of 500 gold pieces. Really nice, and well, you can get that same effect over here. You can get 500 gold pieces every time you go through the right-hand side. It never changes, and it doesn't contribute to your collectibles. So if you're trying to do this in the minimum number of runs, be sure to go left at least twice. But as I said, I think left is always better, because once you've got all the collectibles, and why wouldn't you want to get all of them? Then you're just going to be given the same reward every time. Anyway, for us, we get this stack of gold coins. But unfortunately, that's not the last of our trials. Oh no, not by a long shot. I mean, there's only two that we haven't done. By taking the alternate path at the second trial, and being the large fish in the small pond, we get a different set of choices. They're not maybe as fun as the ones we've already dealt with, but gonna have to explore them. So let's do that real quick.
See spot burn!
Alright guys, so like I mentioned earlier, if you take the big fish in the small pond choice, or the left-hand choice, back at the second trial, then you'll end up with two entirely new choices to make. And since we're taking all of the right-hand paths, we're going to explore two more of those right now. We're going to start with the following trial.
I must say, I really do find your life form fascinating. Anyway, next is the trial of element. You've probably never thought about this before, but would you rather channel water or tame fire?
Well, considering that we're playing with a fire Skylander, I feel like we already know how to tame fire, in which case we should probably take the right-hand path and learn how to channel water. This might be a little bit of a challenge, but I think we're up to it.
Hot on the trail.
Ambush.
Alright, so both of the element trials involve an ambush of elemental Skylanders, and I think they're all ones that we saw in the last game. If you take the tame fire path, then you end up fighting evil eruptors. If you take the channel water path, then you fight 3 zaps. The difference being 2 eruptors and 3 zaps. Don't entirely know why that works that way. And as I said, we're a bit of a disadvantage fighting water enemies with our fire Skylander, but these firewalls are pretty effective even against water opponents. And as soon as we start taking them out, we'll gain healing items just like we do every time we fight Dark Skylanders minions. There's a lot less of them in this game, which I think I approve of. I complained a little bit in Spyro's Adventure about the sort of lack of creativity with the enemies and how heavily they relied on the sort of Dark Skylander idea. It's kind of a cool one, but I think they overused it. I think they make pretty good use of it in this game with only a couple of ambushes, and I particularly like the trial of element here. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe it's because they sort of telegraph it a little and you can tell what's coming, and it seems appropriate for the setting, this trial given to us by the Oracle. But now that we've proven our power as a fire Skylander, let's check out another one of our heroes. And I think I'll go with Hinata, as we have one more trial to take on this path. Let's see what the Oracle has in store, shall we?
Wonderful. Wonderful. Keep it up. You're doing great. Next, we have the trial of knowledge. Tell me, are you a lock master? Or light beam perfectionist?
Trial of knowledge, huh? I feel like we would succeed at the trial of knowledge by taking the left-hand choice and choosing not to do what's coming. As you might be able to tell by this entryway, which curiously requires us both to solve a lock puzzle and use this key in order to enter, there's gonna be a lot of lock puzzles going down this way, but gotta show off every room, and this is one of them. This choice proves, however, that the right choice is not always the correct choice. Luckily, though, this first puzzle is pretty simple. 3 rights. 1, a 2, a 3, and we're done. Yes, actually, most of the puzzles coming up in this trial, I suppose, are actually pretty straightforward, but that doesn't make it any better. Not really.
Skylanders of the undead element are stronger in this zone.
Alright, so I'm going to first show you the most efficient path to get through here. Then I'm going to show you how to solve all the rest of the puzzles, because there's optional ones. First off, we'll head left from where we start off, and we'll solve this puzzle right before us. Again, this one's pretty simple. 4 lefts and then 4 rights. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 rights. 2, 3, 4. Drop us over here, and this one's done.
Excellent.
Now, proceeding through here, we get a key, and some sort of angry troll minion, for some reason. Well, there we go, he's given us experience and gold. What more could we ask for? Well, I suppose we could ask to not solve a series of lock puzzles, but you know what? I've made my own bed, I'm gonna solve all of these, and we're gonna like it, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I'm not married to the idea of liking it. That sounds pretty terrible. Anyway, after we collect some more treasure, we'll head to the right side of start and solve this puzzle. This is probably the most complicated one here. So we'll start with 1 left, then 2 rights. As weird as that looked, that was correct. Then another left, and a right. 2 more lefts, 1 and 2. A right, and then 2 lefts. Believe it or not, it'll take us all the way to this corner and solve the puzzle.
I foresaw this outcome.
Alright, let's make use of our ability to throw projectiles in multiple directions and take care of everyone. Actually, let's also make use of our ability to neutralize these enemies. See, look, they're not going to attack us as long as we're using our enchanting spell. And then, when our bottle wears off, we get to blow them up. I sort of talked about it earlier, but it's nice to show it off as well. I actually really like that ability. It's fun, unique, definitely a little bit weird, but like I said, I like it. Now, the next thing to do along our quickest path is to solve this puzzle just ahead of where we last solved the previous one. This one's simpler than the last one. It'll be 3 lefts. 1, a 2, and a 3. Then 4 rights. 1, 2, a 3, and 4. And again, this looks weird, but is correct. And simply left to drop on that last circle. Now,
I foresaw this outcome.
that solves all of the mandatory puzzles. That's a really easy chest to open. We'll also pick up this treasure chest, another one of our collectibles. In case I haven't pointed this out, don't remember if I have, there's only ever one collectible in any one of these trials, so if you find one, then you don't have to keep looking. But speaking of continuing to look when you don't have to, I'm going to go ahead and solve the remaining 2 puzzles, just so that there's no excuse for me to ever have to come back here and replay this part of this level to show off anything I don't want to do. So here's the one directly ahead of start. This one's also rather simple, just like the one to get into this trial. We're just going to go right 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. That one's done. And now there's just one more, but things are a little bit more complicated than they appear because there's actually a Chompy bot who's going to come get us once we open that door. I believe he'll also appear if you head straight over here from this section we opened previously. You may have noticed that when we cleared all those enemies, we opened a monster gate, and we were able to come over here. So be careful of that. This guy will show up whenever you enter this area. Of course, with the powerful genie giant on our side, we can make quick work of him and dispatch all of the Chompies inside. No big deal. Collect all of this experience. We're very close to leveling up. But I don't think there's quite enough enemies to take care of that just now. Alright, here's the last log puzzle. This is if you open the door straight ahead of start and head to the left, then you can solve this one with... this one's fairly complicated, as you might be able to tell just by looking at it. So we'll start with 1 right, then 2 lefts, 1, and a 2. I do enjoy this one simply because of all the, like, warping around that you do every correct turn you make. Alright, after the 2 lefts, it's another right, then a left, then 3 rights. 1, 2, and 3. Again, a lot of warping, kind of fun. Then 2 lefts. 1, and 2. There we go. Now that is the perfect solution to all of the lock puzzles. There's also an optional locked door here. You can open this, and then you get another key, so all it does is replace itself. Not terribly helpful, but the trolls here will give us a chance to show off our enchanting spell yet again. And it will even actually last longer than you're spraying the mist, so that's a good point to know that I had forgotten about. And it makes that ability even more useful. Pretty big fan of it, and like I said, I think I actually recommend the projectiles path over the other one. Now that we've collected our collectible and 2 keys, as well as clearing out all the various trolls and chompies here, I'd say we've successfully and completely beaten this trial.
My path lies
All we've really got left to do is to pick up another set of 500 gold, so I think I'll join you right where I left you. See you in a second. Alright, that takes care of all of the choices on the right side path, so I think we're pretty good to go in terms of exiting through this portal.
Congratulations. You have completed my trials. Can you believe it? I have learned so much from you. And in exchange for your help in this matter, I will return you to your ship. Give Flynn the coordinates for a shortcut to the lost city of Arcus, and give you guys a little present that will allow you access to the lost city. Just my way of saying thanks. Magically, all this is waiting for you back at the Dread Yacht. But feel free to return anytime, Skylander. My many doors are always open.
Alright guys, so like I said, recorded this past second, which means that we have the benefit of already collecting everything from the left-hand side, which means that we have all of the collectibles now. Of course, if you started with this episode, then you've only seen half of them, and I'll give you a link in just a minute that will help you explore the rest of the level, assuming that you're interested. For now, let's head back to the Dread Yacht and see if the Oracle made good on all of his promises.
Whoa! Well, I don't know what you did up there, but it must have been good. Look! It just appeared here a minute ago.
Plus, the Oracle gave us directions to Arcus. If we take this Archean copter, we should be able to sneak right in.
Yeah, things are looking up for the good guys here. You just come see me when you're ready for a little ride in a chopper.
You know, I'm not sure that without listening to the Oracle's speech, I would assume that an Archean helicopter showing up out of the blue would mean that I had done something good. But you know what? We're actually lucky because this is the surprise that the Oracle mentioned, and not only will it help us get into the city of Arcus, it'll make for a pretty interesting level in the next episode. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and hopefully you'll have fun with that, and that you had fun with this episode. Like I said, you'll end up having to play through this level 4 times in order to get all of the collectibles. Now, I've played through twice in order to get all of the footage today, but if you want to see the left-hand choices, then you'll have to see the other 2 paths in this episode. If you're inclined to watch it, I hope that you enjoy that, and again, I hope you'll join me for the next episode when we get to fly that sweet Archean chopper. See you then, guys!